Hey, I'm Stogie Shane. Today we're going to have a look at the Omar Ortez Maduro Bellicoso. This stick is designed to do business with and compete with the Rocky Patel Edge. I'm sure you can see a likeness. It's got a different kick though. It's a Maduro Puro, so the wrapper, filler, and binder are all three Maduros. The wrapper is kind of unique. It's a San Andres Marron Maduro wrapper. They cost about $8 a stick. Visually, they're very unassuming, both in the box and in appearance themselves. There's lots and lots of tiny little veins that run throughout, and some medium and even large veins. They've all got some small visual imperfections in the wrapper. Almost none of the wrappers are perfectly intact. The large majority of them have got little skint spots and such, but it never impedes the cigar. Initial scent on the cigar before lighting is there's almost none to pick up, except for milk chocolate. We'll give it a cut and I'll come back in a few minutes and we'll see how it's going. Initial lighting, you can see the ash kind of explodes right at the beginning. That's due to a lot of good hot heat right at first with a small ring gauge cigar. The ash is very gray. It's not white and it's not black either. It's a little bit toothy. It's got some little flakes here and there, nice layering. I'll have to exhale through the cigar a couple of times to get the cherry hot enough to light this side, but I don't think it'll require touch up with a lighter. The flavors on the first inch, the most overwhelming sensation is an unsweet, like baker's chocolate, but it tastes a little bit burnt. It's not very creamy by any measure. It's definitely a medium to full-bodied cigar, or and we're right at the beginning, so I'm sure it'll end with a full body. There's another meaty component that I can't name yet, but I'll do some thinking about it, and maybe I'll be able to update you on that and see how it matures. That funny little burn that it had picked up did require a little bit of correcting with a lighter, but now it's going along just nicely. Still got a nice great gray ash with some slight fractures here and there, but it's holding together. It has introduced a little bit of creaminess, so that burnt that burnt chocolate flavor is kind of turned into more of just a regular, like a milk chocolate, but it's not sweet. There's also a little bit of roughness on your palate, so it feels a little bit like a wet leather texture, and taste in the sense that it's slightly salty on the finish. The meatiness that I was picking up in the first third has weaned away, so maybe it was just a problem with the way it was burning. I'll be back in just a few and we'll talk about the second third. The second third has been all about more of the same. There have been a couple of more introductions in terms of texture, but not so much flavor. The baker's chocolate still remains. The wet leather sensation or the dryness on your palate, that still remains with a little hint of salt as well. The black pepper's got a little more frequent in terms of the little smacks of black pepper, but it's not gotten more peppery necessarily. There is an introduction of a light lanolin or oily texture around the rest of your mouth, but not so much on my palate. So here we are about 30 minutes into the cigar as well, at the end of the second third, so it's about a 45-minute smoke. We'll be back in about 10 minutes and we'll talk about the end. One could theme this cigar with a more of the same mentality. It's very good, so I don't want to take anything away from it there. It's just not complex. It's not going to transition in flavors from one third to the next. It has finished with the same 3 or 4 flavors it started out with, but it does a very good job of heightening your awareness of those sensations and flavors as the time goes on. So all along it's been some unsweet chocolate, a little bit of a wet leather sensation on your palate with some salt at the end. At one point there was a little bit of meatiness that vanished in about 5 minutes, so it's not really worth talking about. There's been some black pepper licks here and there, and each of those flavors and textures as time goes on, gets a little bit more strong and so forth. I'd call it a good 7.5 or 8 out of 10. It's a quick smoke. It's about 45 minutes. So they're worth picking up, and they're not terribly expensive at all. They are strong, and they're good full-bodied cigars. Anyway, I appreciate you looking in. Feel free to leave comments, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.